Our hands once were idle.
And when the world shall listen, and when the world shall see, and when the world remembers, that world will cease to be.
Here
That
in my
seems
shrine
inadvisable.
that you have forgotten.
I wonder how long this effect will last.
Here
Perhaps it is
to me,
permanent, as with others.
that you might remember.
That would be a shame. You are an interesting
Here
exception.
you
Otherwise,
reclaim
universal phenomenon.
what fateless
Far
minds
from
have
us.
stolen.
Can you hear me? Do you have any free will left? Or are you completely under this outside influence like the other?
Your eyes once were blinded.
It appears that you were not as unusual after all.
Your hands
Now through them
I-
does he speak.
and when
And when the world
What brings
shall
you to
see.
Raven Rock? Mirak. It sounds familiar, and yet I can't quite place... Oh, wait, I recall. But that makes very little sense. Mirak's been dead for thousands of years. I'm not sure, but it is fascinating, isn't it? Perhaps it has some relation to what's going on here. Quite unexpected. I'm afraid I can't give you any answers, but there are ruins of an ancient temple of Mirax toward the center of the island. If I were you, I'd look there.
Here do we toil.
Building something, clearly. And yet they don't seem to have much to say about it. I'm very interested to find out what happens when they finish. Certainly not. Doing so would interfere with whatever is going on, and I would be unable to see how this all turns out. The ignorant think it is only a place of ash and lava. It has rolling green plains, and swamps, and verdant hills, too.
Far from I'll say.
Miserable. Just miserable. Oh, I hate this place. I think so, but I'm not sure where I heard the name. I don't know why, but I'm thinking about a temple here on the island. Maybe it was just a bad dream. Don't like it. I hate it. Every day it's the same thing. We open the shop, we hardly sell a thing, we close the shop and go to sleep. What kind of a life is that? Oh, believe me, I'd be on the first ship off this miserable island if I could, but I'm not sure I could do that to my father. I think it would break his heart. We've already lost my mother. I don't want to leave him alone. We lived in a settlement, perhaps a league from the border of Black Marsh, the homeland of the Argonians. Even though the Argonian invasion ended a long time ago, there are still a few scale-skilled clans that live within our borders. To put it simply, they attacked our settlement and slaughtered almost everyone. It was horrible. Keep yourself safe. Solstheim's still a dangerous place.
Are you here to pray, or perhaps pay your respects at our ancestral tomb? They're where we inter our dead. They are sacred places, meant to honor their passing. Sadly, we've been unable to use the ancestral tomb beneath the temple as of late, and have resorted to other locations to scatter the remains. Those foul vermin, the abominations we call ash spawn, have risen from the ashes of our own ancestors. They're befouling the memories of our forefathers by defiling their remains. Thank you, Wanderer. That would be most kind. Here, this key should open the door to the tomb. The Dunmer race doesn't bury their dead, or leave them to rot inside a stone sarcophagus. When a Dunmer passes, his body is given to fire, so he might return to the ash from whence he came. The Dunmer don't believe that death is the end. We believe that it's the beginning. The reclamations are the true tribunal, the Daedra that consecrate the Dunmer people, Azura, Methala, and Boethia. We call them the true tribunal because they have reclaimed their place in our hearts from the false tribunal that came before. Sotha Sil, Amalexia, and Vivek represent what was, beings who won the Dunmer people's hearts with their actions, but blinded them just the same. They were aberrations, false prophets. They used their status as heroes to shield the true tribunal from our minds. But now that they've been destroyed, the light can finally shine upon the House of Reclamations. Sounds like something from a dream, and yet it might be more strange. I remember a temple on Solstheim, and working to build something. It was not a pleasant dream. Be cautious, friend. The ash spawn are soulless beings with no regard for compassion. Azura's wisdom to you, friend. Spirits be praised. I'm hoping you didn't suffer much at the hands of those foul beings. Please, accept this as a token of my thanks.
May Azura, Mafala, and Boethia guide you. That's certainly one way to get attention.
Welcome to the Retching Netch Corner Club, my lord. If you need anything, Master Geldis will be happy to help you.
Teldrin Sero, blade for hire. If you have the coin, I'm at your service.
Now, if you'll excuse me, kick me out of here, and we both know it.
Look, we've been over this. I paid you off. I don't owe you a thing.
And I'm supposed to run my operation outside in a pile of ash? I don't think so. I'm not asking you if I can stay. I'm telling you. Now that's the end of it.
Welcome to the Retching Netch Corner Club, home of the finest Sujammer that will ever grace your lips. The finest Sujammer to cross your lips, friend. My own personal formula that I call Sadri's Sujammer. In fact, I've just added some new ingredients to the mixture that I think makes it taste better than ever. All I need to do is get the word out that it's ready, and they'll flock here for it. I was kinda hoping you'd say that. Here, take these samples of the Sujammer and spread the word. If you get rid of all of them, there's something extra in it for you. Azura's wisdom to you, friend. There's actually a funny story behind the name, friend. A few years ago, I was walking down by the docks, and I noticed a Dunmer staggering along with a bottle of Sujammer in hand. He was one of my patrons and liked to drink heavily, so I wasn't exactly surprised. But you see, this particular Dunmer was as naked as the day he was born and singing badly at the top of his lungs. As I'm watching this spectacle, a netch floats over the bulwark towards him. The man looks straight up at the netch, yells, "Have a drink," and tosses the bottle. And it never hit the ground. Well, the bottle broke on the netch, and it must have swallowed its contents because it started floating sort of tilted. Finally, it stopped and began to quiver. A few moments later, the foulest liquid to ever assail your nostrils spewed from its maw. I've seen plenty of drunks in me day, and I'll tell you right now, that netch was sick. True story, friend. True story. Haven't heard anything lately, but check back with me. You never know. Sure thing. It's yours for a day. I'll show you to your room. Right this way. You lost?
On behalf of House Redorin and as Councillor of Raven Rock, I bid you welcome. Good old Geldis is always managing to keep our spirits up, and our eyesight hazy. Thank you. You've never heard of House Redorin? We're the mightiest of the great houses, and we lead the Council, the ruling body of Morrowind. This isn't Skyrim, Outlander. A group of powerful and influential Dunmer families have been ruling Morrowind for millennia. They embody a council made up of 5 great houses: Telvanni, Dres, Endoril, Sadras, and Redorin. Well, of course, with 4 other houses on the council, someone has to keep the rabble organized. Our house leads the council by virtue of our preeminence in battle, wisdom, and ancestral glory. Yes, I imagine it would to someone not of our people. If you're interested in pursuing the subject, help yourself to any of the historical volumes in my library. Solstheim is theoretically under my rule, but without revenue from the mine, I lack the resources to actually govern anything but Raven Rock itself. Not that there's much beyond the confines of our town anyway. Well, there's a small enclave of Nords to the north in Skal village. They pretty much keep to themselves, and we both like it that way. Then there's Tel Mithrin to the east. The Telvanni live out there. Sort of a strange lot. But since we're both from Morrowind, we get along. Other than that, Solstheim is crawling with bandits and Reeklings. But that's to be expected living in a frontier like this. It used to be one of the richest ebony mines in Morrowind, but it dried out years ago. Now, we're barely holding out here. Without the mine, Raven Rock doesn't feel like it can last much longer. Do I? What a strange thing. It sounds so familiar, and yet I cannot place the name. I'm not even sure. I can picture a temple here on Solstheim.
That's certainly one way to get attention.
I said to leave me be.
Cretius, last time you explored the mine, you almost fell to your death. I'm not spending the rest of my days as a widow.
And I'm telling you that I'll do whatever it takes to find my great-grandfather's remains. He's down here. I can feel it.
That was almost 2 centuries ago. There may be nothing left to find.
Just let me go, woman.
Cretius, you're an obstinate old fool, and you're going to get yourself killed. My apologies for Cretius's ravings. Well, that sounds lovely. Thank you. That foolish old man thinks he's 30 years younger than he is. He's going to get himself killed traipsing around the mine. He's convinced himself that there's some sort of conspiracy involving the East Empire Company and the mine's closure. We came across some old letters that belonged to his great-grandfather in our house, and he believes every word written in them. Cretius's great-grandfather worked for the East Empire Company. The letters mention some sort of discovery he was sent to investigate. There's really nothing remarkable in the letters. I don't know what he's so excited about. Gratian Corellius. He was an explorer for the East Empire Company. They'd send him all over Tamriel when they had difficulties in a mining operation. Poor man. Can you imagine doing all that dangerous work just to end up dying at your own doorstep? There was a horrible accident, and he was killed when one of the tunnels collapsed. They were never even able to go down there and recover the body. The East Empire Company sealed that section off to prevent any more tragedies. Cretius is convinced it's a story cooked up by the company to cover up something else, but I don't know. My beloved is almost 80 years old, and I think the shock of finding one of his ancestors' things has left his mind a bit confused. I love him dearly, and I support everything he does, but I can't let him chase this silly idea, or he may end up joining Gratian in a rocky grave. To understand how we met one another, you have to appreciate what he's going through. Cretius is a third-generation miner. All his life, he's lived and breathed nothing else. By the time Cretius came of age, the ebony mine in Raven Rock was shut down. He took that quite hard. Our home has been in his family for over 200 years. Leaving would have been like abandoning precious memories. Instead, he stayed on Solstheim and spent most of his life prospecting for a new ebony source. Sadly, it never surfaced. A decade ago, this drove him into a deep depression. He shut himself inside his home and refused to come out. It was after refusing to allow anyone to bring him food, Counselor Morvain ordered his door to be knocked down before Cretius starved to death. I was a temple priest at the time, and they had me use my healing arts to restore strength to his ailing body. I stayed for a while and cared for him, then I suppose we fell in love. Far from it. In fact, I'm no longer welcome there. In all honesty, it came down to a disagreement between what I believe and what Elder Othraloth believes. I'd prefer not to get into the details, but let's just say our opinions about the current status of the Tribunal vary widely. Be careful out there.
Who in the blazes are you? Can't you see I'm busy? Why should I tell you? I don't even know who you are. Ask most of the folks around here and they'd agree with you. But mark my words, these mines hold a secret that could put Raven Rock back on the map. A secret the East Empire Company swept under the rug 2 centuries ago. It killed my great-grandfather and left Raven Rock with a worthless and tainted mine. You never heard of them? They're the largest trading company in Tamriel, originally chartered by the Emperor of Cyrodiil himself. Gratian Kyrelius. He spent his entire life exploring ancient ruins across Tamriel, and he died in these very mines almost 200 years ago. The East Empire Company called it a terrible accident, claiming that he was lost in a rockfall, but I know better. My wife and I were cleaning out our home, and we came across some of my great-grandfather's things locked in an old chest. I found an unsent letter he'd written to the East Empire Company, and a key. It describes a discovery that was made in the mine by some of the diggers. They wanted Gratian to take a closer look. The East Empire Company must have felt it was of great value, as they locked that section of the mine off from everyone else. It is. Well, I assume it is. I haven't been able to find the entrance. Finally, someone who believes me. I'm telling you, there's something big down there. Something that the East Empire Company wanted to hide from everyone. Look, my wife nags that I'm too old to go traipsing around these mines chasing my story. Time's my enemy. It's caught up with me before I could find the answers that I'm looking for. I do. I want to know what happened to Gratian, and what the East Empire Company is keeping from all of us. Gratian kept a journal of notes about his discoveries. If you can find his remains, I'm hoping it will help. Here's everything I have. The letter, the key. Please, do this for me, so I can finally regain the respect that I've lost. He's begging for patrons again, eh? Well, I suppose I could have just a bit. Look, I know I don't have much to go on. I have that unsent letter, and that's really it. But I also have a miner's instinct that's run in my family from before Gratian was even born. I may sound like a crazy old man to you, but I'm telling you, the tunnels here are solid. They would never collapse like that. She thinks that old age has addled my mind, that I'm seeing things when there's nothing to be seen. I realize she cares about me, but she has to understand that I can't rest until I find out what happened to Gratian. Then I'll settle down peacefully and never set foot in this mine again. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time, even before I discovered Gratian's old things. I just hope both of you don't mistake my enthusiasm for insanity. Be careful down there. The Mine can be treacherous.